Welcome to Rapid Movie Recaps, land of overused stereotypes and irony. Don't forget to click that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You wouldn't want to miss any of our scintillating content, would you? And do check out our merch, we know you can't resist. Our thrilling story starts with a guy named Scott who's worried about his daughter Jen. She's been gone for 6 weeks and hasn't called or texted, but hey, maybe she's just taking some me time, right? Anyway, Scott talks to the sheriff, who's not too concerned about Jen's disappearance because, why would he be? He's only a law enforcement officer. To top it off, the sheriff makes an oh-so-enlightened remark about Jen's boyfriend's skin color. Scott, understandably not a fan of the slur, reminds the sheriff that his daughter wouldn't appreciate it either. Next up, we find Scott in a bar, because where else would he look for information about his missing daughter? Lo and behold, one mysterious patron has seen Jen and her friends. He tried to warn them about the mountains, but they just had to go hiking, didn't they? The patron ominously tells Scott that he'll never find Jen, and then, because every good story needs a spooky twist, his eyes do this weird thing that totally screams, "I'm hiding something." Cue the flashback. 6 weeks earlier, Jen and her friends arrive in small-town Virginia. They're having a grand old time when their car gets a flat tire, but don't worry, Jen is the ultimate independent woman and can change it herself. Meanwhile, Mila keeps the gang entertained with her hilarious jokes. Oh, the fun they have. When they reach the hotel, the receptionist warns them to stay on the trail. But hey, what's life without a little danger, am I right? The friends ignore the advice and head to a bar where, surprise, they encounter some good old small-town conservatives. Jen's boyfriend Darius is already bracing for some racist comments, and Louis and Gary feel a little awkward about their relationship. But the locals don't go for the low-hanging fruit. No, they're too classy for that. Instead, they just look annoyed at the noisy out-of-towners. Enter the mysterious guy with the liver issues. He has a bit of a verbal scuffle with Jen and her friends, but Mila, being a doctor, quickly diagnoses his eye problem. The guy grumbles and leaves. They'll teach him to mess with a group of accomplished young professionals. The gang is cracking jokes outside the bar when they spot a dark figure near their car. Adam, being the brave soul he is, chucks a bottle at it. Jen, ever the voice of reason, tells him to stop because, it's not a great look. The figure vanishes, and they assume it's the disgruntled bar guy. When they get back to the hotel, Jen calls her dad and tells him where they are. Oh, the irony. And now, for some genuine heartfelt moments, Jen comforts her boyfriend, who's feeling down about people judging him for his skin color. She reassures him that love conquers all, because who needs originality in a storyline? Jen goes jogging and encounters a woman and her daughter peddling tacky bracelets. Being the generous soul she is, she buys some. The next day, the friends set off on their hike along the Appalachian Trail. As they marvel at nature, Luz questions Gary about their relationship. Isn't it fun how everyone seems to have trust issues in this film? Darius, the thrill-seeker, wants to venture further into the mountains, but level-headed Jen reminds him of the hotel lady's warning. The friends are having a blast when suddenly, a tree trunk comes barreling down the hill. Everyone scrambles to safety, except Gary, who gets flattened. R.I.P. Gary. Now in shock and mourning, the friends blame themselves for Gary's demise. Jen spots a mysterious figure in the forest, and Mila bandages Darius' injured hand. With their phones conveniently out of service, they decide to head back to call for help. Unfortunately, they get lost and have to spend the night in a wilderness. Jen thinks she sees someone outside her tent, but dismisses it and goes back to sleep. The next morning, they discover they've camped in a graveyard. Spooky. To make matters worse, their phones and Mila have vanished. As they search for Mila, they encounter Ruthie, the bracelet seller's daughter. Jen is convinced she's innocent, but Adam is suspicious of the timing. In the process of chasing her, Adam gets his leg trapped and is yanked into a hole. The friends try to save him with some truly ineffective yelling, but ultimately fail. Darius, ever the hero, wants to dive into the hole after Adam, but Jen, our trusty voice of reason, stops him. She insists they leave the mountains, probably thinking they've had enough excitement for one vacation. Jen, Louis, and Darius realize they need an escape plan, but not before witnessing 2 skullmen carrying Adam as if he's the main course for a dinner party. Our heroes jump into action, freeing Adam, who promptly shows his gratitude by violently smashing one of the skullmen's head. Darius tries to stop him, but the other skullman vanishes. Talk about gratitude, am I right? Jen and Adam engage in a delightful moral debate. Did they really know Adam was on the menu? Adam sarcastically suggests they invite the skullman over for dinner. Just as things heat up, Mila strolls in, asking what she missed. She went to pee and got lost, because why not? Mila mocks her friend's concern, conveniently overlooking the fact that her boyfriend just killed a man because he thought Mila was in danger. but hey, who needs to announce bathroom breaks? As they continue their escape, Darius gets smacked in the face by a mysterious object and more skull-masked people appear. The friends scatter, but Milla falls into a trap and gets stabbed. Adam, who promised never to leave her side, suddenly discovers the art of self-preservation and bolts. Milla meets her gruesome end, and the remaining friends are captured. Jen finds herself in a pit, stripped and bound. She screams for help, and Edith, the bracelet-selling mom, makes a cameo. Jen's reward for good behavior is food and water, but she's not exactly grateful. Edith rolls her eyes and leaves, only to return later with a bucket of water containing a soggy bread roll and an apple. Jen chows down, and the friends are finally brought up. Join us for more plot twists, dark humor, and questionable decision-making as our remaining friends navigate the treacherous forest. Will they escape? Will they learn any life lessons? And seriously, why didn't Milla just announce she needed to pee? The riveting tale of Jen, her friends, and the exclusive members-only club known as the Foundation. These skull-wearing, hay-loving conservatives pride themselves on being superior, and now they're holding a good old-fashioned kangaroo court for our heroes. Jen and Adam try to argue their case, but when diplomacy fails, Adam takes young Ruthie hostage. Big mistake. Ruthie goes all ninja on him, and he ends up with a crushed skull. Eye for an eye, right? Louis, who obviously didn't learn anything from Adam's experience, tries to escape and loses his eyes for his trouble. Desperate, Jen strikes a deal with John, offering Darius his eco-friendly services and herself as a bride. Edith checks Jen's teeth, and after a cursory cavity inspection, Jen becomes John's wife. Darius, now a valued member of the Foundation, gets to hang with his new besties. Meanwhile, Scott follows his daughter's trail into the woods, only to be beaten by some bar patrons. The hotel receptionist warns him of the danger, but does he listen? Nope. He joins a group seeking revenge against the Foundation, and despite their poor decision-making, Scott survives various traps with surprising agility. He's eventually captured and greeted with an arrow to the shoulder, courtesy of his loving daughter. Jen later frees Scott, and they embark on a thrilling escape, complete with eyeless Louis snacking on human flesh. Darius, now content with his new tribe, declines Jen's offer to escape, leaving Jen and Scott to make a run for it. Their stealth skills are lacking, but hey, it's the thought that counts. Thankfully, the bar guys come to the rescue, albeit at a great cost. As Jen and Scott make their escape, John laments his unexpectedly violent divorce. In a twist that no one saw coming, Jen and Scott are now partners in the home restoration business. Life has returned to normal, or so it seems. Then, at a family lunch, the new neighbors arrive, and who should they be but John and Ruthie? What are the odds? Jen's stepbrothers unknowingly set the tone for an uncomfortable meal by selecting a movie about inbred cannibals for their pizza and movie night. Classic sibling humor, right? Jen imagines the carnage that could ensue if she reveals John's true identity, but instead, she opts to send her family away under the guise of a business meeting. In a move that surprises everyone, Jen agrees to go with John on one condition: her family remains unharmed. John agrees, but only because he's got an ulterior motive. Jen is pregnant with his child. The unlikely couple hops in an RV and rides off into the sunset, but not quite. In a stunning turn of events, the RV swerves into a tree. It turns out that Jen has been hiding a knife all along. She takes out everyone except Ruthie and walks away from the wreckage, free at last. Want to see how it all unfolds? Purchase the movie at the link in the description below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep an eye out for more sarcastic, rapid movie recaps.